Hey now, Sunday is the day, March 7th, and it's been quite a week since last Sunday's announcement for me. Bandcamp Friday was amazing. I need to announce before I go on and talk about music in general is that my album Nice, I thought I would be sitting on copies of it forever. I have 16 copies left. The response on Bandcamp this last Friday was phenomenal. And I woke up this morning and I got another order for the album Nice. All remaining orders of Nice, the album on vinyl, get a free copy of Dereck #2, my second CD. And I got a message from someone who said they're looking forward to my new album 2020. It's not 2020 that's coming out on vinyl, it's a new album. I had selections from what's coming out on my Bandcamp under the titles DHX and Strength. I recently deleted them. So any of you that have digital copies of those tracks, those are collector's items because they contained versions of some of the songs that are going to be in my new album, which is called Future Still. I just saw the cover. I can't show it to you yet, but I chose the cover art. They gave me some selections. But so I took those songs off just to really. So it's not 2020 that's coming out on vinyl. I'd like that. That was the CD that I put out at the beginning of last year. Okay, it's just been crazy in a really nice way. I've gotten some records, and I've gotten a couple of records I've been after for years, and here's one of them. Thirsty Moon, their very first album on Brain. You collectors of prog rock and krautrock know that the Brain label, in particular the Metronome, the early ones, Brain Metronome, these are the ones that go for money. And I want to thank Mark Manor down at Homer's, who is the buyer down there and a friend and a decent guy. He gave me a decent price on this. He gave me a fair price. He needed to get what it's worth, but I didn't have to pay over $100 for this, and that's what you have to do, is pay $100 for one of these days. Thank you, Mark. And this is really good. This is that German version of jazz rock, more on the rock undefined side. It's like this is an American rock and roll, but this is rocking. It's new. I mean, this is an old album, but at the time, this was a new sound. The B-side, Yellow Sunshine, a sidelong track. It's amazing. Love this album and played it again last night. Affinity. Linda Hoyle, the singer, Mo on bass. The whole band, all these people, this band, Mo Foster. These people, particularly Mo Foster and Linda, they're significant people regarding British rock history, as far as I can tell. Originals of this on the Vertigo label go for big money. This is on the U.S. Paramount label. But this is an early production by John Anthony, the famous producer. Well, he needs to be famous. You know who he is. He discovered Black Sabbath. He produced the first Queen. He produced early Genesis, Vandergraaf Generator, Rare Bird. The list is endless. John Anthony is a major producer, and he's a friend of mine. And I posted this last night, and I get a comment from John himself on the post this morning. That feels good. To not just be a lurker, that you're actually in touch. You know what I mean? I'm actually in touch. with John Anthony. I love it. These are the little bucket list things about where I'm at in my life that mean the most to me. As I said before, it's not so much when I encounter people, what they say to me or what I can say to them that feels the best about certain achievements, like being right now being Artist of the Year. It's the inner landscape of my thoughts, and having people whose work I've admired for years, talking to me like a friend is just the best. Along those lines, it wasn't that long ago I heard from Renat from Amon Duul 2. She'll just, out of the blues, send me messages. Really nice ones, loving messages. Vive Trance is one of my favorite Amon Duul 2 albums. And they played this on the radio here in Omaha, Nebraska when it came out. And they were so clueless that the first song among the first lyrics is, I think it's Chris Carrere who's singing. He says, "I was so fucking proud." Really obvious. Got played on the radio. Hadn't played this forever. This is beat. It's my original copy that I bought when it came out. And these are all beat up like this because my brother James liked Gentle Giant too. And he would steal my records and party with them, and it'd be hard for me to get them back because I was taking care of my records at this time. Interview is an album of theirs where they're making attempts to cross over. There's a reggae rhythm on here. But overall, this is really good. Interview. Lately, the band has been getting an increase in. It appears they're having an increase in attention by the public, deservedly so. They have said they have no intention of getting together to do a reunion show. They're too old. Nobody wants to see their old asses. I don't think that's exactly true anymore. I think that there's a lot of bands who, if the members could pull it off, merely because they're still alive, people would pay to see them get back together. Now, this is a band that's not that old, but I was thinking of Susie and the Banshees. And in the 2000s, they got together and did a reunion show. And it's like, if they were to do it again, before too much longer, that would be amazing. So I was getting into Amon Duul, God's Cock. This is a reissue. This is another one where in the Krautrock DVD that I just got, listening to Renat talk about this album, the making of it was eye-opening. And so I was able to listen to what it was she was doing in context of what it was happening with her at the time. This is true psychedelia and what they call krautrock. That's the real deal. Here's another one that I just got. I've been after this album for decades. This is one that when it was in the shops in the 70s, when I was still in high school and just a kid with no money. After school, I would go to the Westroads here in Omaha, and I would just lurk in the record stores looking at all the cool records that I could not afford. And this was one that I would always be fascinated with by the cover, and I would just basically just wish that just because I like the cover, Quintessence, the English band of religious freaks. This person, Rhoda, whoever she was, I bet you she passed away, but whoever she was on top of it. Homer's bought through someone a collection and got her collection. I bought what I can of it when they put it out because the things that she has is what I'm looking for, but they're all collector's items and they are all extremely expensive. Like, for example, they have her copy of Kraftwerk's, is it the Exceller 8 double LP on Vertigo. I want it, but they want $250 for it. I can't afford it still, really. But this is beautiful. The way it opens up, I've always liked that. And this is interesting that they didn't do what makes the most sense, which is to make the record pullable from the top, but you actually have to pull it like this which in many ways will keep you from pulling and playing it because you're going to tear the cover up. But this is a really good album. When I put it on there, it's like, oh, I remember this now, because it definitely takes me back to hippie days when my dad knew a lot of hippies, you know, because he's a musician and a doper, you know. And I can remember some of the houses that we would go to, that I would go to with my dad for who knows whatever reasons, and they would be playing music. And this is one of the albums I heard a few times to the point where it's like, I remember that. And it's really intense. It's really good. Got a bunch of stuff sitting down here, but I want to talk about a couple things. This is an album from my childhood that I'm glad I hung on to. It's Beat because of me. I bought this as a cutout as a kid. 39 cents, the Aquarians. You know, I was drawn to it by the drawing, the graphics. It looked like it might be cool. See how old it is? I got my name written all over it. This is Brazilian-based music, and this was my introduction to Bobby Hutcherson, Lynn Blessing, Joe Pass is on here. I mean, it's got the great musicians on here. It's a wonderful album. Jungle Grass. Look at that set. That's how old this goes, back to me when I was a kid. Played it all the way through last night and just gave me warm tingles. Warm tingles. That's the beauty of music. I was playing some more old records the other day. When I post these, I get a lot of comments. People love the old days, don't we? The Flock, Dinosaur Swamps. Chicago-based band, apparently. When I post this, I'm finding out more and more about this band. People that I know, they played with these guys. Someone I know, I forget who it is, but the son of the bass player from this band is in another band with somebody I know. Played some James Gang Rides Again. My brother bought this when it came out. This definitely got a ghetto pass. If y'all didn't know this was very popular in Omaha in the black community because Funk 49 is funky. And black musicians here in Omaha, they all learned how to play it. Jim Fox, the drummer from James Gang, who the band is named after, in the hood was recognized as a good drummer. Unlike in general rock history, he's forgotten. Everybody knows who Joe Walsh is, but it's Jim, who started this shit as a badass drummer. And this album, your album, is really good too. I want to say again that hot on my turntable as well as on my MP3 player is the new Richard Barbieri, Under a Spell. This man is a master. And I'll say it again. I just messed this up. I got to get another one. Okay. I'll say it again because Steve Wilson gets all the attention. Find out about this album. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and compare it again. This is better than Steve Wilson's Future Bites. It's better. I wonder if I could hear from Steve Wilson. I wonder if Steve Wilson would be willing to say, yeah, Richard Barbieri is a badass motherfucker. He is. A couple more, I'm out of here. If I showed this, I don't remember, but it's a fairly recent record that I got that is still sitting out. Legend, Parzival, I don't know the story. It goes back to the 70s. It's one of those English bands or European bands that take a lot. You can see by the look. You know, it goes back into the past. There's classical and maybe madrigal is the word I'm thinking of. I love this. They get it right. There's some singing, but they're doing the classical music thing, but there's also the psychedelic weird shit in here too. Parzival, Legend. Again, it's an album I'm kind of surprised I don't hear more about. Two more, yeah, because I've got all these records. Another album that Their first album, Fantasy's first album, Paint a Picture, is very hard to get a hold of, and it's expensive, and I want it. Their second album was not released right away. The record label passed on it foolishly. This is a great album. Tragic story they talk about here. You know how the band was celebrating on a side of a cliff, and one of the members accidentally fell off the cliff and died. But anyway, it's an English prog rock. There's a lot about this album that really hits the right chords with me. It's not quite perfect, but it's just really good. And Beyond the Beyond. And just a lot of this album hits the right notes for me in a lot of ways. The drumming is plodding. That's one of the things about English music, I suppose, that when it comes to the English jazz, if the drums aren't tight enough, then it really bugs me. With the rock, I can handle it. But when it comes to jazz, the drums can't plod. But with the fantasy, the drums are kind of plodding, but the music is so good, it's fine. This is a reissue, but this is another album that the cover alone was why I wanted it, although it's a really good album. But I finally got a reissue of this. Gleeman. This was the band that the guitarist, what's his name? Bambi Fossati was in before he started the band Garibaldi. Look at that cover. Isn't that crazy? I love that illustration. It's just wild. And it turns out that this is a very good pop psychedelic prog album. It's more on the pop side. These songs are memorable. I could hear them on the radio. I got a yellow vinyl. I wouldn't mind have gotten it in black vinyl. But this is a very good pressing. It's not noisy. It's good. But this is a great album. Gleeman. So glad I was finally able to get this, okay? There's more. There's more. There's more. So much going on. So much to say. And the one thing I will say, because the people who bug me about this don't have good intentions, but they haven't been listening. They haven't been listening. The world is still in a huge mess. And I'm not a Democrat, and the Democrats are doing exactly what I thought they would do, which is to get back into war shit. You know, we don't need that. That ain't cool. That's why I just, I'm saying it because I know I'll hear from them now. But I just delete you because you don't have good intentions and you don't listen to me. You make assumptions, And so, therefore, I just treat you like that. You're stupid. The rest of you, the world, the great majority of people, including the people who don't understand me, I love you all. I just really appreciate being able to share this time with you all. And I appreciate when you share with me. I do like hearing from you all, how you're doing. Blew my mind to hear from Earl of Swab the other day. Jimmy, that's his name. And then Chris 4127 Basket said hi. That does mean something to me. Like I said, I'm not the sort of person that has to be over at your house every other weekend to be your friend. But if we've been connected in a good way, the connection remains with me. Great to hear from you guys.